welcome on behalf of the entire CrowdStrike team here. My name is Pradeep Sharma. I lead the sales engineering for CrowdStrike, and we secure 1,500 customers in India from the adversaries, from the ransomwares, from the malwares. All right, so redefining security for now and next, and let's take a glimpse into where we are now, the threat landscape. And this is from CrowdStrike Global Threat Hunting Report 2024, where we capture the trends from the last year, what we have seen. Okay, so these are the key highlights. If I summarize, the organized e-crime groups, the number is increasing. Okay, intrusion activities, the hands-on keyboard, okay, known malware, the number is increasing. The adversaries are exploiting the legitimate applications that are used for legitimate purpose in your environment. Identity, the use, abuse of legitimate identity credentials is increasing. 5 of the 10 MITRE tactics observed by MITRE are identity stolen identities. And there are groups who are making it convenient for the attackers, the access brokers. You need not to send out a phishing email to somebody. You can go and buy stolen credentials from the market. So there exists a market of access brokers out there. Cloud intrusions, as our dependency is increasing on cloud, adversaries are coming through cloud. And then the cross-domain attacks. Okay, attacks that do not fall under one silo, identity, cloud, endpoints, right? So adversaries are using any segue to get into your organization. Okay, so that's the nature of attack that we are seeing, right? So it's not a malware, it's a targeted attack, it's an intrusion activity. And from the mindset of an adversary, they want to stay under the radar. They don't want to use a malware. That's the reality. So what do? Buy a stolen credential from the dark web, or maybe send out a phishing email and try to harvest the credential from there. But yeah, they are taking the route of least friction. Use the identity, the stolen identity credentials. If an adversary is using my identity to log in to any one of the CrowdStrike asset, it's difficult for somebody to figure out it's not me. So they're buying these credentials from the dark web and logging into one of your cloud service, using the social engineering techniques to trick somebody to share their MFAs, and they are landing into cloud, from cloud to the cloud workloads, and then your critical assets, your crown jewels. Now, the nature of this attack is it is spanning across multi-domains: identity, cloud, endpoint, network, and with all the best-in-breed point security solutions we have, we are going to miss these type of attacks. And the reason is the IAM solutions, the network security solutions, the endpoint security solution, they can only understand the signals that pertains to their domain. Rest everything is left to the expertise of the people, the collaboration between the team, how organized you are, and then the time that you have. So that's the reason 60% of these intrusions, these advanced intrusions, go undetected. So it's going to get even more complicated with the digital transformation in full swing. And these are some stats. 5.3 billion people are connected to internet today. 650 billion is going to be the spending on digital advertisements by 2026. 18 billion is the number of IoT devices that are connected to internet, and we live with these IoTs every day, every moment. 80% of the new cloud workloads that are coming up are going to be in cloud. So the threat landscape is gonna expand. And where are we against this? The cyber skill set. Okay, if we talk about the number, the vacuum, the skill set vacuum, the vacuum, 3.5 million open jobs in, there are 3.5 million open jobs in cybersecurity. There is zero net unemployment in cybersecurity. 6% of the global security roles are not filled up. And 1.5 million cybersecurity skill set gap is only in APJ. Right? So the threat landscape is blotting, the digital footprint is expanding, and here, when it comes to the cybersecurity skill set, we face the scarcity. So this is what we hear from our customers, the CISOs, the CIOs. Deliver more with less. I think we all in the room can agree. Number one, security is mission critical. It's too fragmented. We are looking into the same problem through different lenses. Network, identity, cloud, okay? It's costly. The data is increasing, our digital footprint is increasing. There is a myriad of cybersecurity solutions that we are deploying every year. And it is only resulting into complexity and opportunities for the adversaries to get into our data or assets one way or another. But you know who's the biggest enemy for, or that one thing which is not working in favor of the defenders? That is time. Okay, so the biggest challenge with the security teams is the time, and it's the need for speed. Okay, so it's adversary versus you. Who's gonna get there first? If it is adversary, we are breached. If it is me, I stopped the breach today. So again, this is the data from the global threat report. 62 minutes is the average intrusion time, average breakout time that we have observed last year. What is breakout time? It is the time from knocking on your door, which is getting initial access to your environment, to start moving laterally, having freedom to access any room in your house. That is the time we call it breakout time. And only 62 minutes. From the user clicking on that email, that phishing email, to the adversary having the freedom to move on any system in your organization, it takes 62 times. And it is coming down. Last year, this was 79 minutes. 2022, this was 84 minutes. 2021, this was 98 minutes. So it's coming down. And can you guess what the fastest could be? And this is based on our observation. This is based on CrowdStrike's threat hunters who actually get into a hands-in-hand combat with these adversaries. Guess what could be the fastest one? Anyone? Wow. 2 minutes and 7 seconds. That is the fastest we have observed. Guess you clicked, and by the time I finish this slide, the adversary is present everywhere in the room. So that's the milestone, that's the objective, time. We need to fight against adversaries within 2 minutes and 7 seconds. If this is too much, 62 minutes. All right, so what is the need of the hour? Cybersecurity today, the mission is to stop the breaches. Malware is just, I stopped 100 malwares today. Nobody questions. I didn't stop the adversary. Tomorrow I'll be in the headlines. Consolidation. It brings simplicity. And we discussed about these cross-domain attacks. Until we consolidate the view, the data, the teams, we are not going to get there. And yes, for all the security leaders, the information security leaders who are sitting there, reducing the total cost of ownership and complexity for you. So let's move ahead with these three objectives in our mind, and we'll see how CrowdStrike is making this happen. So the approach that we need is a people-centric and data-centric. Build a data foundation. And this might sound a little counterintuitive, but the power of human. I'm talking about the power of human in the era of AI and generative AI. Let's be realistic. So the narrative has to change, and our security approach has to be data-centric, people-centric. And where does this start from? Collect, enrich, evolve, and protect. Collect the right telemetry data. That's the foundation of any cybersecurity program, any cybersecurity product today. Enrich it with the right context. Evolve, train your machine learning models, build new detections, capabilities, new product capabilities, and protect your assets. And we'll get into the scale, how CrowdStrike is doing that. But yeah, what you see in the white here is when we say collect the data, trillion event, it's 5 trillion actually. That's the scale at which, that's the volume of data that CrowdStrike is collecting. Enriching, threat intel, the right context. Without the right context, data is not information. It is just some strings and words. Evolving, the adversaries are evolving, the tech is evolving. It's AI, generative AI, behavior, anomaly, use all of that. Protection, how can we protect, detect, respond? Everything should be in the same place. So that's the foundation, data. Now, having the data in place, how can we use it? Power of AI, right? And this is something which is very core to CrowdStrike. Anything that we are doing in CrowdStrike, it's not something which is a buzzword that we have added some last 2-3 years. From the inception, the day one, AI is the core of the Falcon platform. But yeah, this is the approach. When we have the right data, let's use all the technology expertise to find that signal in the noise. So training the machine learning, the threat research around this data, intelligence, okay, building new capabilities around this data. So that is the technology part, or data and the technology. And this is how it looks like. Okay, right data, right context, right technology. But like I said in my previous slide, that connecting tissue between the data and the technology is the human. And in security, the human is in the form of the incident responders, the threat hunters, the threat researchers, intelligence analysts. So these are the core pillars of the modern day security, what it takes you to protect against the adversaries, against the intrusions, against the hands-on keyboard activities. So how do we do this in CrowdStrike? So those of you know who know CrowdStrike, CrowdStrike and Falcon platform are like synonymous. But yeah, this is the technology platform that CrowdStrike has built. And today, the Falcon platform is the source of truth for all your security operations. Why so? With the single agent and we'll dive into this more. So over time, we have built the Falcon platform to be that single source of truth with all the right telemetry data captured within the platform with one single agent. And that is the simplicity. One agent on your Windows, Mac, Linux, cloud, identity. It takes you one single agent. And on top of that, we have built all of these capabilities, all of the services that we'll get into. But it's start with this single agent, no reboot required, a very lightweight agent, collects the telemetry, share this telemetry with the cloud. And what happens once the telemetry is shared with the cloud? We preserve the context. Okay? So there is a data signal, there is an identity signal, there is a network signal, there is a process signal that is going into the cloud. How do we preserve the relationship between these signals? And that is where the concept of relation, the relation graph or relation database comes into picture. We have built thread graph, intel graph, asset graph. So this is how we store the data in the cloud, and the objective is to preserve the context, preserve the relationship, so that to make it easy for the AI to understand, to make it easy for the analyst to understand the context, the relationship, the actual narrative of the attack. So it's presented, imagine the attack is being presented to you as a picture. AI, like I said, it's not something which is new to CrowdStrike. Day one, we started CrowdStrike endpoint security with AI, replacing the signatures, scans, with an AI-powered AV EDR solution. And today, the capabilities are evolving. We are helping the vulnerability management team to prioritize the vulnerabilities with the help of AI. Generative AI, we are helping the SOC teams to write their parsers, build their dashboards with the help of generative AI, making it more conversational. So AI is the core of the platform. It is in every tissue, every layer of the Falcon platform. And basically the idea is, when we are talking about trillions of events per day, it is not humanly possible to go through that data, find those insights and respond to the incidents. We need the power of technology, we need the power of AI, and we are using AI in every layer. The workflow automation. AI can prevent, it can present you a detection, an incident, but then when we are responding, it is up to my skill set, how I perceive that, okay? And sometimes it can go wrong. So to make the response more consistent, the workflow automation, the post-incident process, the workflow automation, that is part of the platform. I can build these automation playbooks to execute a certain task 100 times a day in the same consistent manner, making sure there is no scope for a human error. And this is the platform. So with all of these foundations, the foundation of data, AI, automation, these are the capabilities that CrowdStrike delivers out of the Falcon platform today. The world's best EDR. For last 5 consecutive years, CrowdStrike is the leader in the EDR, the endpoint security space. ITDR, identity threat detection. Like I said, 5 out of the 10 MITRE tactics are identity based. Adversaries want to use identity. 0 day, it is there, but it is not as lucrative as the identity could be because it's noiseless. Identity protection is integrated in the same sensor, same agent that collects the telemetry for EDR. Cloud security, the most comprehensive CNAPP platform in the industry. ASPM, CSPM, DSPM, SPM, all of these capable, the real-time security. So as we are moving into the cloud, Kubernetes, containers, cloud services, GitHub, CrowdStrike CNAPP solutions promises to protect you from the time you are coding it, checking it, and you are deploying this. So end-to-end security throughout the life cycle of your CI/CD pipeline. Exposure management. As we said, the digital footprint is exploding. Same is our exposure. The exposure is not just the vulnerabilities. Doing vulnerability management is not gonna give you the assurance that you are secure. It could be a misconfiguration. It could be some overly permissive identity or credentials in your cloud. So we need a more holistic, a more risk-based approach to look into the threats, the digital threats. And that is where exposure management comes into the picture. And it starts with, so vulnerability management versus exposure management. The first thing exposure management starts with is discover. Discovering our digital footprint is the most complex task today. We don't know what we are running, where we are running. Is it in the cloud? Is it in the is it on-prem? The same platform, like I said, we collect the data once and we use it for different use cases, different deliverables. Exposure management is one of those. Intelligence. With those trillion telemetry events that we collect, we track the adversaries through this lens. We extract the threat intelligence. We share this threat intelligence with our customers to give the right context. And like I said, 245 targeted adversaries group, activists, nation states, we are tracking. And the number is increasing. Services. You are a small digital native organization. Your focus is, the focus of your innovation is not security. You want to bring a transformation into transportation, into some user experience. Leave the security to CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike managed services can take care of your security requirements end to end, with the assurance that if something happens to you, you are covered by CrowdStrike. And we are #1 incident response and MDR services providers in the world today. Generative AI, okay, sounds fancy, feel excited about, yeah, and most of the time we say how generative AI, how the LLMs are going to change the threat landscape, and we always talk about how the adversaries are going to use this, but how we can use it. We can make things more conversational. Something that is taking 8 hours, we can change that to 8 minutes with the power of generative AI. And we kind of democratize the security. Now for a security person, it's not about writing a query, having that skill set. It is asking a question, asking the right question. Charlotte AI, the generative AI can do that for you. So this is where we are today, and this is where the Falcon platform or CrowdStrike is heading towards. Like I said, yes, we started with our focus on incident response, managed services, endpoint security. With the exploding threat landscape, we need to innovate in the areas where the adversaries are coming. And that is how we added the identity security, we added the cloud security. So what's next? SOC, security operations. This is one team who's looking into not less than 40 different point security solutions, doing the correlation manually, or sometimes they write those rules manually, and monitoring it 24/7. And technology has not helped the security team in last 1 decade. It is the same old legacy SIM. It is the same old legacy the SOC technologies that we are running on. And this is failing us against the adversaries. So that's where CrowdStrike is heading with, in the interest of, can I take 5 more minutes or maybe 2-3 more minutes? Is that okay? All right. Yeah. So that's the evolution. That's where CrowdStrike is heading. SIM. Data paradox with legacy SIM. The data ingestion decision is not governed by our security requirements, it's governed by the budgets. I can only afford 1 TB per day. So I have to get everything in that 1 TB. There may be more security data that I can ingest, but my budget only allows me to ingest this much. Can't match the speed of adversaries. When we are talking about 62 minutes, when we are talking about 2 minutes and 7 seconds, we cannot afford a platform that returns a query in 24 hours. We are going to lose. So, the legacy SIM failed the SOC, failed the security. How are we modernizing the security operations? Combining the people, data, AI, and automation together within the Falcon platform. So if I put it simple, the Falcon platform becomes the central screen of all your security operations. It's a SOC out of the box. EDR, AV, automation, SOAR, SIM, compliance, threat intel, vulnerability management. All of these capabilities are part of the platform. The only thing that was missing in the Falcon platform was third-party data. So having third-party data being ingested in the same world-class platform allows you to analyze this data, apply the same intelligence, same power onto this third-party data, and basically connecting all of those dots. I spoke about the cross-domain attacks. While CrowdStrike provides you visibility into cloud, identity, endpoints, but there are other areas, network, firewall. Okay? Combining all of this data in one place and using the power of AI, automation, human, generative AI, squeezing the time against the adversaries. And that is how we stop the breaches. So a decade ago, we were doing endpoint security. The mission was stopping the breaches, and this remains the mission, stop the breaches. With that, I want to thank you everyone for your time.